I know a few good stories. They take place in a corner of America that might seem familiar, yet still manages to surprise. The settings are spectacular, the characters compelling, the action exciting, the plot lines unpredictable. I'm Tom Richardson. Join me as I explore New England's great outdoors, from Candlewood Lake, Connecticut to Caribou, Maine, from the beaches of Cape Cod to the peaks of New Hampshire's White Mountains. The stories are waiting. Let's live them on Explore New England. Explore New England is brought to you by Down East Magazine, the magazine of Maine, visitnewengland.com, and Northeast Delta Dental. Additional funding and support for this episode was provided by the Maine Lakes and Mountains Tourism Council, the Maine Kennebec Valley Tourism Council, the Maine Highlands Tourism Council, and the Maine Office of Tourism. Extending 2,200 miles from Springer Mountain in Georgia to Maine's Mount Katahdin, the Appalachian National Scenic Trail, also known simply as the AT, stands as one of America's greatest hiking challenges, as well as an invaluable public resource. Over 1,200 thru-hikers successfully complete the entire trek each year, logging an average of 15 miles per day over 5 to 6 months. But you don't need to be an experienced long-distance hiker to enjoy the Appalachian Trail. There are numerous sections that make for easy scenic day hikes, or you can choose to spend a night or two on the trail if you want a taste of the thru-hiking experience. It's a public resource for all to enjoy. In this special episode, we sample 3 different sections of the AT as it winds through Maine, with stops in Carrabassett Valley, the Forks, and Monson and Abbot. As you'll see, the trail is not just a footpath through the woods. It's a gateway to a larger appreciation of nature and the benefits of spending time outdoors. In Maine, the stretch of the AT from Grafton Notch State Park to Mount Katahdin is maintained by the Maine Appalachian Trail Club, a nonprofit comprised of dedicated individuals, many of them volunteers, who repair and improve trail sections, remove fallen trees and other obstacles, maintain the shelters and campsites, and much more. I got to witness some of this work firsthand when my AT adventure began in Carrabassett Valley. At the AT Trailhead parking area just north of Saddleback Mountain, I met up with Valerie Gillis, a ridge runner with the Maine AT Club, for an overnight hike to the Horns Pond Shelter in the Bigelow Range. Part of Valerie's job from May through October is patrolling the Bigelow's trail system, greeting hikers and making sure the trails are in good shape.
As a ridge runner, I do a lot of work interacting with people. And a big part of my job is making sure people are being safe and responsible out in the outdoors and leaving no trace, and all that encompasses. And yeah, it's being a resource for people out here. Some days I enjoy the bad weather by sitting in the day use shelter and talking to hikers, because they like to stop there and take a rest from the rain. And I chat with them, talk about what the conditions are going to be as they continue over the Bigelows. And then on really nice days, I'll go out for day hikes, and sometimes I'll go out and I'll spend nights at different shelters and different campsites just to check in on all of them.
The hike to and from Horns Pond can be accomplished in a single day if you get an early start and pack light. In our case, we'd be spending the night, which meant bringing a tent, sleeping bag, food, and cooking supplies. It's a lot more involved than a day hike, and there's a definite learning curve to overnighting on the trail.
The White Blaze is here. That's the Appalachian Trail White Blaze. It's very well known. Generally, it's a 2x6, and You see those, you know you're on the Appalachian Trail. So essentially right now I'm taking down the location of the blowdown, the size of it. I'm going to record essentially at what height it's at so they know what tools to bring up.
And so what are we looking at over here?
So right here we've got a little hill that we're going to go over, and then we've got the horns up there. Between that hill and the horns, we've got the Horns Pond.
Okay. Now does the trail, the Appalachian Trail, go over? We reached Horns Pond by late afternoon and set up our tent in one of the open spaces near the lean-tos.
Yeah, so over here is what we call a platform. We've got 2 of these in the site. It's just essentially a wooden tent pad.
All of the AT shelters are located near a water source and frequently come with animal-proof food storage containers. In some cases, this means sturdy metal boxes to thwart black bears. But at Horns Pond, the only pests hikers need to worry about are red squirrels and mice. So food can be stored overnight in a plastic 5-gallon bucket. As for the bold snowshoe hares, just think of them as your friendly hosts. Thank you so much. You were a great guide, great hostess, and After a rather soggy night at Horns Pond, I packed up, hiked back to my vehicle, and drove a few miles to the Sugarloaf Outdoor Center, just south of the Sugarloaf Mountain ski area. In recent years, Sugarloaf has made a big investment in promoting its warm weather activities, most notably mountain and gravel biking. The resort offers an extensive network of trails at the Outdoor Center, as well as on the mountain itself, which hosts competitions such as the Eastern States Cup and Enduro World Series. The latter draws hundreds of pro riders and fans from around the country and all over the world.
So what I love about riding in the Carrabassett region and on Sugarloaf is kind of the combination of having the, gravity-fed, steep, expert-level trails on the mountain, and then having just a total wide variety of riding all around the valley. I mean, you can ride up the knolls across the way, up to Oak Knoll and the Stratton Brook Hut on beautiful machine-built flowing single track that's still challenging and inspiring, but is kind of available for all ability levels. And then around the Outdoor Center is kind of the trail hub for the area, and there's really amazing beginner trails there. We kind of have the full spectrum of ability levels now, which is awesome to get people into the sport and then continue to inspire folks. And we've got a really robust local riding community. We have our Tuesday night group rides that the Carrabassett Nemba chapter puts on that have, a couple dozen people show up. Currently, there's no fee for access to the trails just because we have kind of a scrappy environment. Sugarloaf definitely sees the potential in developing mountain biking as part of our year-round offering of amenities. And we have a really major commitment to a 3-phase plan over on Whiffletree to get, machine-built trails for all abilities over there. There's a really, really hardy riding community that is supported by the hard work that the town crew has done over the last many years, and now it's great to be contributing to that at Sugarloaf as well.
As Adam mentioned, riders of all skill levels looking for a mix of easy and challenging terrain can find it at Sugarloaf's Outdoor Center, which also offers bike and gear rentals. The center's well-marked trails take riders through woods, fields, and around a small pond, where you're likely to encounter all sorts of wildlife. Of course, all that biking and hiking are guaranteed to spur one's appetite, and there are plenty of dining options in Carrabassett Valley to take care of that, including Strokes Bar and Grill at Sugarloaf Mountain's well-groomed 19-hole golf course. Here you can order a variety of tasty menu items, including wings, nachos, burgers, wraps, subs, and salads. Farther up the mountain, you'll find more delicious fare, craft brews, and cocktails at 45 North, located in the Sugarloaf Mountain Hotel, where I finally collapsed after a very busy day. If you seek a more rustic experience on a summer or fall visit to Carrabassett Valley, consider a stay at venerable Cathedral Pines Campground in the town of Eustis. Named for the stand of enormous Norway pines, some of them well over 100 years old, that tower over the campground, Cathedral Pines offers both RV and tent sites on the shores of Flagstaff Lake. Longtime manager Denise Coate showed me around the place.
Started in the mid-60s. It used to be owned by the town, and then the Stratton Eustis Development Corporation took it over. It's all non-profit. Everything they make goes back into the campground.
Even now?
Even now. The next one coming up, I think 61A is one of the favorites.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
So if you got an RV site, you could still put a tent there.
Absolutely. Like this is an RV site, but they got the two little tents on.
Okay.
Yeah. We rent canoes, kayaks, and paddle boards.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah. So I see you have a launch ramp.
We do. People can launch their boats here. If they're camping here, there's no fee. We let the public launch, and we charge them $2 if they're not camping here.
The next stop on my Maine Appalachian Trail adventure was the Kennebec Valley Region, where the AT crosses the mighty Kennebec River at Carratunk Plantation. For AT day hikers in this part of Maine, and those who want to spend a night on the trail, Northern Outdoors Lodge, just up the road in the Forks, makes a terrific base camp for a multi-day stay. The lodge offers accommodations ranging from large, modern, well-appointed housekeeping cabins to rustic tent and tent cabin sites along the Kennebec River. Its founders, Susie Hockmeyer and her former husband, were pioneers of Maine whitewater rafting, which began when log drives ended in the mid-1970s. Today, many rafting companies ply the Kennebec, but Northern Outdoors remains one of the top dogs, largely due to its team of experienced guides.
We going on a river. We going on a river. We're going on the river.
No, I'll just get changed up top, yeah.
Start checking your life jackets. It starts pretty quick. We're gonna go through 6 rapids. I've done this before. All right, we'll stop walking. We'll plant our feet past the raft down, hand over hand, into the water.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun raft.
It's gonna be awesome. Woo! So why go rafting? Rafting is a great opportunity for all different things. I mean, rafting can be a way to get your thrills, your adventures. Rafting can be a bonding moment. We had a school group come out today that, they all are going to meet each other through rafting, get to know each other a little better. Rafting might be a great adventure or getaway. We had somebody in our boat today who was just getting away from, the regular life. They're just coming up to the North Maine woods to enjoy the peace and quiet and get out there on the river.
You're lucky you got me up to it, Charlie. Yeah! Doing out, you buddy. There's a massive rock right there.
Almost ready.
They're good for you. They're good for you.
Beets? Here we go.
Leah's got the cookies.
In addition to whitewater rafting, Northern Outdoors also offers ATV and snowmobile rentals through 201 Power Sports. After I got back from rafting, I took a short ATV ride on the local trails in a side-by-side with the company's co-owner, Scott Honeywell.
There's an ATV club. Forks has one. Most areas have their own clubs, and they come out and maintain them, keep the brush cleaned, try to keep the holes so they're not terribly. Culverts wash out, they go and fix those whenever they can.
So guys have to go out with chainsaws and saw it up and like make it right?
Yeah, make them so it's passable.
Yeah, and so basically, if the clubs didn't exist, then these trails, there wouldn't be any trails.
There wouldn't be. And there's spots out in the woods everywhere, little secret spots that they'll come along and they'll find where there might be a pond they can stop at or a waterfall or stuff like that.
Did I mention that Northern Outdoors also comprises a restaurant and brewery? Yup, plus an arcade and a hot tub. On the night I visited, the place was hopping.
What's going on? One more time and I'll say, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. I say, hey, nice and loud. What's going on? 25 years and my life is still trying to get up there.
Just a few miles down the road from the Forks is Carrabassett Plantation, where the Appalachian Trail crosses the Kennebec River. At the parking area off Route 201, I met up with Dave Dorr, one of the Maine Appalachian Trail Club's district managers, for a hike west to Pierce Pond.
So I came to volunteer with the Appalachian Trail because my wife and I do a lot of hiking, and we wanted to give back. And we knew this area from previous explorations, and this section of trail was available. So I put my hand in the air and they signed me up. Through hikers, day hikers, I run into fishermen out there, and they're all, really happy to see somebody out there working on the trail, and they love the fact that we take care of it for them. So it's very rewarding in that way. It's just a fun thing to do.
After donning our packs, Dave and I crossed Route 201 and made our way to the designated landing along the Kennebec. Waiting for us was Maine registered guide Greg Caruso, who runs the canoe ferry that allows hikers to cross the river. It's the only ferry service of its type along the entire Appalachian Trail, and runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. during the hiking season. This is important to know, as day hikers who fail to make it back to the river in time for the return trip may find themselves stranded until the following day. After Greg dropped us off on the west bank of the river, Dave and I set off on the AT toward Pierce Pond. This trail section follows the course of Pierce Pond Stream and features a lot of short but steep up and down climbs, but nothing too taxing. Along the way, hikers can stop at one scenic waterfall after the next.
All right, so we're here at, this is the lowest falls on Pierce Pond Stream. You can see it's a very beautiful fall, and it's got a really good swimming hole there where you can swim right up to the base of the falls.
Pretty deep there?
Yeah, it is. It's fairly deep. It's probably waist deep, maybe a little bit more at the base of the falls.
As part of his duties as Kennebec District Manager, Dave patrols the section of the AT at least 3 times a season, checking for blowdowns, washouts, and other maintenance issues. He also organizes shelter repairs and AT infrastructure projects, including the recent install of a moldering toilet at the Pierce Pond shelter. After a few hours, Dave and I arrived at beautiful Pierce Pond, which serves as home to several sporting camps that specialize in putting anglers on the pond's wild brook trout. The AT shelter site on the pond is widely regarded as among the most scenic of the entire trail.
So we're coming up on Pierce Pond Shelter.
Oh,
We're
man.
in the shore of Pierce Pond here. It's
Yeah.
one of the favorite shelters.
$1 million view right here.
It is. It is. I think you'll be hard pressed to find a place as isolated as this, as As you can see, the beautiful pond. It's just a really gorgeous spot. I've run into places that blew my mind. The views, or say like the waterfalls we saw today, and there's just so many hidden little gems out there that, you know, anybody can get to. It's available for anybody who wants to use the Appalachian Trail. It just takes a little effort in hiking, and it takes a little effort in finding where to go. But other than that, it is just an incredibly beautiful place here in Maine, and there's tons of spots that are beautiful. I can't even begin to describe all the different places.
2023 was by all accounts a tough year for Appalachian Trail hikers due to the abundant rainfall. It was also a tough year for those who wished to film the AT, but I got a break in early October just as the foliage was reaching its peak in the Maine Highlands region, which includes Mount Katahdin, where the trail either begins or ends, depending on your starting point. My base for this leg of the trip was Abbot Trailside Lodging in the small town of Abbot, where owner Matt Snyder has created a popular spot for all types of outdoor enthusiasts with his collection of modern, clean, well-appointed cabins located adjacent to the ATV and snowmobile trail system.
So this was originally a restaurant called the Whistle Stop Restaurant. I had the idea of buying it, making it into a hotel, just a small, four-unit place at that time. Since that, we've grown, we've added the cabins. The big draw was the ATV snowmobile trail right there. It's old railroad bed. We've got, winter, spring, summer, fall, all of it. We've got ATVing, we've got snowmobiling, we've got hiking, we've got, everything is here.
From Abbot, I headed north to Monson, where weary travelers can get a meal and a place to stay at the Lakeshore House Pub and Lodge, which for the past several years has been owned and operated by Nick Fusco.
It was a friend of mine he was trying to find property to buy, and he saw that it was listed, and he's like, your favorite pub is for sale, you have to save it. I'm like, you're the one that's looking at real estate, like, you go and save it. The clientele and the menu are eclectic. We have an artist residency program here that attracts artists from all over. In the fall and winter months, we've been featuring local breweries and having their brewmasters and owners come to feature their beers. We do sales and giveaways, and that brings out a lot of locals. It gets the brewers connected to their patrons, and it gets my patrons knowledgeable about their beers. We get a lot of vacationers in the summertime, peak Appalachian Trail hikers. In the early part of the spring, southbounders, they trickle through.
Nick's place sits on the eastern end of Lake Hebron, pronounced locally as Hebron, and even offers a dock for visiting boaters. The 638-acre lake features protected coves and islands and is a great spot for boating, paddling, and fishing. Like Nick Fusco of the Lakeshore House, Tim and Joy Bushin are relative newcomers to north central Maine who decided to settle down and start a business in Monson. Their Turning Page Farm and Brewery, a few miles from Monson Center, produces goat milk-based products as well as fresh brewed ales. And if you visit on Oktoberfest weekend, you can even enjoy a bratwurst and traditional German music.
Turning Page Farm, first of all, was named by my wife and I wanting to turn a page on a new chapter of our lives. So we both quit our corporate jobs that we worked for years and years and years, more than we care to share. And we wanted a different lifestyle. We wanted something a little quieter, a little where the decisions we made were right in front of us and we could see the ramifications, good and bad. And farming just hit that. We love good food, we love good drink, and we thought, let's do something like this.
For northbound AT through hikers, Monson offers a much appreciated place to rest, restock, and recuperate before they embark on one of the most daunting sections of the trail, the notorious 100-mile wilderness, so named because there are no paved access roads or towns along the route. Therefore, hikers must have at least 7 days of food to see them through until they reach A-Ball and the final leg of their journey to Mount Katahdin. Thanks to the network of logging roads that wind through the Maine woods, day hikers can sample bite-sized chunks of the 100-mile wilderness, as I did with Brad Dean and Bud Lemieux, who led me on a hike up Barren Mountain.
This is Barren Slide, and then around on the right, that's Barren Ledges, so we'll go to there. Now the peak is up in the clouds.
Okay, right there, yeah.
So but that's another 1.8 miles. The shelter is down there.
Oh, so are we going to go by the shelter?
Yep, we can either do it on the way up or on the way back.
Oh, okay.
The
cool.
And
so
Sluggety Falls is right by the shelter.
Okay.
The top of this mountain was cut in the 30s by Seaboard, I believe it was Seaboard Manufacturing Company. So this is a stump that's still here from the mid 1930s. So we're approaching 90 years that this tree was cut.
After hiking for a few hours, Brad, Bud, and I arrived at Barren Ledges, which affords sweeping views of the land below, including Lake Ottawa and Borestone Mountain. The actual summit lay another 1.8 miles further, but we decided to head back at this point, as we wanted to visit the Long Pond Stream Shelter and Slagundy Falls on our return.
This area is special to, I think, everybody that lives here because it's rural. It's a hard place to make a living, but people choose to live here because of the lifestyle and because of nature and the trees. I've done a lot of community service. I'm on a lot of local boards, and typically they're all thankless jobs, and sometimes it's a controversial job, and it's different out here. It's not a thankless job. In fact, 90% of the hikers that you see will stop and thank you for what you're doing. So they appreciate you out here, keeping the trail open, maintaining the trail, doing the work that you do. So it's not a thankless job, it's a very rewarding job in that aspect. I don't like the city life, so I'm good with the outdoors, and this fits my lifestyle perfect. It's good for me. It's exercise and giving back to whoever, to people you don't even know, but that doesn't matter.
The Appalachian Trail means different things to different people. For thru hikers, it's a way to challenge themselves both physically and mentally. For folks like Brad Dean, Dave Dorr, Valerie Gillis, and other members of the Maine Appalachian Trail Club, it's a way of participating in the trail's nearly 90-year-old legacy of volunteerism. For still others, it's a way to appreciate the natural beauty of our mountains, streams, and forests. But no matter what you take from the AT or give back, it's simply nice to know that it's out there, ready to offer anyone free passage through the wilderness of America.